Do you feel like you've lost your motivation and you're drifting endlessly in life? Then this message is for you to help you get re-inspired, reconnected with your dreams, and back in flow to think better and live better. Here is Hilda and Team Bahati vividly breaking down ways how to unapologetically be successful in life. The Coach. Give yourself permission to live a life you deserve.
A supportive woman. Who is this kind of woman? We said royal is your name. Royalty has a lot in it. It has etiquette. It has knowing how to brand yourself, how to do the things how to be a woman, how to stand out. But you cannot stand out as a woman if you're not a supportive woman, because like it or not, one day you're going to have children, you're going to have a fiancé, you're going to have a boyfriend, you're going to have a husband, you're going to have a boss, you're going to have, so we are supportive in so many other ways.
Someone said something that really got me smiling. He said, I make 600,000 a month and my wife makes 400,000 a month. At the end of the month, everyone would think that we have 1,000,000 shillings. But guess what? At the end of the month, we have 600,000.
I know. Yeah. That's why they say a woman's money belongs to herself, but the man's money belongs to the whole homestead, which I really don't think we all need to subscribe to that notion. I think there are particular people that have taken that on, and different people implement different things in their homes. But I certainly think that everything that drops into your pocket should be for the welfare of your family as a whole, and you should be working hand in hand. You cannot be a support, you cannot be a helper, minus actually helping to budget for what the both of you have to make sure that you have a happy family at the end of the day.
Such a woman that Bahati just explained, she's talked about the supportive woman. One thing that you can never miss in such a woman is that she is loyal.
Wow, yes.
She is loyal. Through thick and thin, she is there.
In other words, she has your back.
She has your back covered.
She is for you and she is with you. And whether you are with her or not, she will still stand for you. We have some women that are really backstabbers, and they easily betray, and their thoughts can easily be swayed and tossed by anything that someone says. But being loyal, that means being a friend to someone, seeking to know who they are, what they can do and what they can't do. And being loyal means that you've even taken time to try and correct, to try and portray, to try and direct, to try and tell someone that, you know what, this is how things are done. So when you are in public out there and someone says all men are dogs, you will stand out of the crowd and say, my man has never been a dog and he will never be a dog. He's actually a king to me, because that is what he shows me. That is the confidence. He's the head of a family. He's the provider. He cares. He loves. So you stand out, when someone says, that is being loyal to someone. When someone says, I have his back, whether he is stripped naked and he has nothing on him, I am for him. Nothing is going to let me go against him. Whether someone has given me so much money, I've heard of people where someone buys the boyfriend or buys the girlfriend, and the father says, you know what, I'm giving you this amount of money, maybe 100 million, just leave my daughter or just leave my boy alone. But if you are for someone, there is nothing. You will say, you know what, I don't need your money. And that will be the biggest shock of that person. I don't need your money. What I need and what I want is to be able to support, to rally behind him and support him.
When you talk about a relationship or marriage, it rotates around 3 or 4 things. If you're married, you know very well that finances are really key. In other words, when you get a shaking in your finances as a home, you'll always have issues if they are not properly aligned or if you did not properly discuss your money. I started by giving an example where someone said, I earn 600,000 and she earns 400,000. But when it gets to the end of the month, everyone would think that we have 1,000,000 shillings on table to plan, but you actually have 600,000 to plan. In other words, I don't know where 400,000 goes. Now, think about this. At a time when this man has no job, what do you expect? If she's the kind who will put away her 400,000 at the end of the month and expect you to plan with the 600,000 for the groceries and for rent and school fees and etc.
And bills.
Tell you the truth. Whether you like it or not, when a crisis hits that home and the man is jobless, they will have a real issue.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about loyal, we mean even in the area of finances, you are there to be by your man through thick and thin, through the hard times. In other words, you are supportive whether things are okay or when things are bad. You are able to look him into the eye and be the support that he needs in that hour. You tell him that
Things
honey,
will be fine.
Though you've lost this job, it does not mean the end of the world. Okay? How about we try to apply somewhere? Let's try to look elsewhere. Maybe we'll get a job. In other words, you are the support that he needs in such times. Now, when she is not loyal, she will not think about that. She will judge you.
Yeah.
She will throw you to the streets. She will accuse you for everything, however little.
She can't even walk away from you.
Exactly. So we're talking about being loyal. Think about a situation where you're sick. Really sick, badly off. Will she still be able to be there for you during such times? Or during those times, she will just have to walk away?
Take a break so that you get fine, and then she comes back and shows up. I think this calls for consistency. If you are loyal, it has to be consistent. It doesn't have to be an on and off. And then it has to be consistent in the nature that whether this person is present or not present, you are there, you have their back. So whether this person, even the way you look at him, even the looks can show loyalty. When someone is loyal to you, even when they look at you, they will either sympathize with you, they will either show you the caring kind of attitude and tell you, what? It will be okay, but not shaming you in front of the children and not even shaming you in front of yourself. They would rather package their words well. They would rather speak to you well. Why? Because they know you can't just go and just fail everything. It's because you went out there and things did not work out the way you expected. So when you come back, you know that I have a shoulder to lean on. The world has beaten you. It has tossed you around as a man, and all that you're looking forward to, can I just get a glass of water minus that guilty look? Can I just get a hug minus asking me, how are we going to pay the bills? Can I just, and when the time comes, let's sit down and let's balance the month and say, what? This is the deficit we have. How do we go about it? Do we need to take more hours? Do we need to work more? Do we need to change jobs? What do we need exactly? But again, you can communicate that in the best way possible to show that I have your best interest at heart.
If you're a woman and you're listening and you really want to be that supportive woman, those are some of the things that you should know. Those are some of the things that you should do. A supportive woman will always be loyal. And by loyal, I mean, one, to your husband, obviously to your children and your family eventually. Being there for them when things are good and even when things are bad.
Yeah.
Because no one should lie to you that it will always be well. There are those down times when things are really taking, the wrong direction, when you're only wondering why things are the way they are. There's something that someone said here by the name of Diane Marichild. She said that a woman is the full circle. Within her is the power to create, nurture, and transform. Now, you as a woman, I've said before that you're the backbone. I said you are the backbone of a family. You're the backbone of this nation. When a woman breaks, it is obvious that the whole family will
and the
break.
nation breaks eventually.
Exactly. So we look at you. We have this confidence in you.
And a lot of hope.
Okay, and a lot of hope.
That you will nurture and transform. That you will turn around things. That you will create things. But again, it saddens my heart to see that there is a certain category of women that are just breakers. They break. Just like, what is it? Is it in Proverbs where the Bible talks about a foolish woman that tears down her own house?
A wise one builds.
You build.
And a foolish one tears it down
with her
her
own hands. That means you are not loyal. By the time you break down the sweat that you've toiled and the work that you have done for the past 10 years, all because something small has happened, because loyal means forgiving at some points. Loyal means overlooking certain battles or certain fights, petty fights, and dwelling on what is important. Loyal means a lot.
Think about a situation where you're sexually struggling. Do you go around discussing your man?
I know. Or do you even go around looking for Panadols? Yeah. No, you keep it together. You're like, you know what? If this is a storm, then we're going through it together. And you communicate in a way that is very supportive and very loyal to your husband. And he understands that, by the way, this is a need we have to address. But most of the times, the lack of loyalty has caused men to go defensive. And they have crawled back into their caves, because the way men treat and resolve their conflicts is they crawl back into their caves, fight their own battles, and then crawl out when they think it's now fine or okay for me to come out. While for a woman, she wants a confrontation. Because we are different. She feels, I want us to talk about
someone is looking for a confrontation while the other is running
away, caving out. And the more he runs away, you're thinking, you're not man enough. You cannot stand to fight.
But what she's...
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes, what the logical,
Yeah.
being that they think, I'd rather come back with a solution.
Yeah, 1 + 1 and calculate and do this. And you're not giving him the chance.
Yeah, actually,
you want to pull him out all the time.
You get too emotional and your emotions are all over the place.
Yeah.
In other words, a lot is lost in translation.
He feels nagged.
Yes. And
he breaks down.
Breaks down.
And
so when you talk about loyalty as a woman of valor,
yeah, a woman of virtue.
I mean, a woman of virtue. We expect you to do the right thing. Be loyal. Now, I know that you're having questions.
Yeah.
You're like, I've been loyal to this man, but this is what I've got.
Yeah.
I've done my best, but this is what I've got. And it's itching you, like, can you talk about the other side as well?
Yeah.
Because some of us have been that supportive, and this is what we
ended up getting.
And to tell you the truth, I know it's really frustrating. But because today, tonight, our emphasis is on you as a woman, because we dedicate this month to a woman. We would want you to be the best version of yourself.
Whether the other person reciprocates or not, whether the other person gives back or not, tit for tat has never been a fair game. 2 wrongs have never done one right. So make sure that you are always on the right side. And I think we've emphasized it. You as a woman, do everything in a home that you know a woman is supposed to do, and leave the other part of the bargain for them to fulfill. And if they don't fulfill, then that is on them. It's not on you. You tried to make this family work, you tried to make this marriage work, and indeed you gave it your best.
Someone said that one of the most courageous things you can do is to identify yourself. Know who you are, what you believe in,
and where you want to
go. Now, you as a woman,
realize it didn't say we, or it didn't say they. It didn't bring the plural that all of you have to know where you're going.
Yeah. It's you.
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
Okay? And at this point, our emphasis is on you.
Yes.
Okay? Then you have no regrets. I gave it my best.
Shoot.
I did my best.
Yeah.
No regrets. I gave it my best shot.
When you check yourself, I have been loyal from day
so
one.
You're guilt-free.
Yeah.
You know that I have given it my best. I've done my best. Well, things have not gone well, but I have done my best. But you know how it feels for you to stay with that guilt, to run around with the guilt of knowing that you did not do your best. It really hurts. It really, really hurts. So give it your best, and at the end of the day, you will be the proudest woman around. To tell you the truth, you will speak wherever you will go that I loved my man, I did the best to save my home and my marriage. In other words, please do not at any point try to do those things that I've told you in some of those funny groups, by some of those funny friends.
If he doesn't do this, don't do this.
You know, they have a way they advise, and some of them advise you, but they do the opposite.
Of course.
They only mislead you. And when you are into
They
that...
go cook for their husbands, wash their undies, iron for them, and yet they're busy telling you, who does that in this generation? Who does that? So you are becoming a totally different, a strange woman in your own home because someone said so.
When we return, number 2 is she challenges you.
Yes.
That kind of woman challenges you.
Be
Now,
a
if you're a
better
man
person,
and you're out there listening, you need a woman who will challenge you.
Yes.
A woman who will look you into the eye and tell you, thank you so much, sir, but I don't think it's right. How about we do it this way?
And I believe that's the greatest thing that you can ever get from a supportive friend, because we all want to be better in one way or another. You want to have a better financial life. You want to have a better family life. You have a better kind of friendships and stuff like that. That means you need another person that is not yourself to point at you and say, you know what, I don't know, but this feels off.
When we talk about challenging here, we are not talking about nagging.
Of course.
It's not like she comes to nag you, but she brings value. You know, she speaks like a woman, as in she comes to you with points, something that you can easily relate to, and you know, something that takes you a particular direction. It actually gives you a touch, or it helps you to have another perspective. You know, you have one idea and she's like, okay, that idea is good, but I feel if we do it this way, it will even become better.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes men may not take that lightly. Why? Because naturally we think we know it all. We
Which
think
is
we
not the
know.
truth.
Yes, we think that in most cases, what is it that a woman is saying? I mean,
She
what
should
is
be in
it?
the kitchen, taking care of the children, cleaning the house. But the matters of the generals should be left to the generals.
But you know, there are some generals in rank, but everything they are doing is lieutenant. Now, at that point, what we need is a real general, and in the real sense of the word, a general. A general will listen.
And a general is made.
And yes, a general is made, but a real general listens.
Yes.
Because you're not leading pigs, you're leading human beings, you know, and you're leading people with brains. You may have that rank, okay, but there's something that they know that you probably don't know.
Yes.
Now, what makes you strong is being able to listen to whom you consider to be your inferior. Now, at this point, we look at a woman being your partner, not even your inferior. No.
Yeah.
You're equal. She is a human being, okay, that you go to bed with. You know, that has given you those precious children. So when she speaks to you or when she challenges you, she's only saying you can do it better.
Yes.
And when a man listens, in most cases, is even made better. He becomes a better person in everything that he does, because he paid heed. He listened keenly to the advice that was coming from the woman. So at this point, it's not about your ego. It's not about how much you know. It's not how much influence you have. It's not about the ranks that you have. Thank you so much for all of that. When you are home, you're a husband to a wife.
Yes. And I think I read somewhere today where someone, I didn't get it so well, but someone was mentioning something like, we are the total of the instructions that we get in life. Our lives total up to the instructions that we get in life. And how successful we are in life depends on the instructions that we've been able to follow.
Yeah.
To positively follow and act on.
Exactly. So at this point, you realize that you need to listen to them. Okay? Give them a chance to speak into your life, or advise you accordingly. The advice is not final. It does not mean that...
It's the take it and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just saying, just hear her
But
out.
be open-minded. Listen, you know? Listen. And before you realize, you've actually gotten what you are looking for. So at this point, a supportive woman is not the kind who will just coil, okay, and stay put in the kitchen. But you know, she will tell you that, I think, much as we want a Range Rover Sport 2014 model,
we need to build.
Or we need a farm.
Yeah.
You remember the farm that we were about to buy that we actually negotiated? It was 300 acres. And I think we need that land.
Yeah.
Now, she is saying what you may want to push under the rug simply because at your workplace, you're competing with someone
who
who
has
is
a
of
Range
your
Rover?
status, probably bought a new Benz, okay, a 2015 model, and you want to show him that, boy, I can do better. Now, you have got the money, but someone else is speaking sense into you.
Yeah.
In other words, for how long will you have to live in the kind of life? Probably you need to know better and you need to act better. And this woman who is speaking into your life at that point is only thinking 10 years ahead, while you're thinking tomorrow.
After these kids have gone to school, after the school fees is really are strangling us, how do we survive from now on?
How we deal with such helps us to become better. Now, a woman who is listening, do not shy away from having that kind of talk with your husband. Now, there's so many women who are listening and they're like, Tim and Bahati, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Mine does not listen at all.
My
That's what
husband,
they're saying right now.
Omwami wange. You will just find a kind of parking lot. But the reason as to why it's happening the way it's happening is because you've never taken.
Yeah. The challenge yourself to actually challenge him.
Exactly.
And
it does not think you even have, it does not even think you have
Yes.
that nerve. It
That's
does not
what I was
even
going
think,
to say.
yeah.
You're not informed enough. You're not exposed enough. You've not immersed knowledge. You have not consulted or spoken to
Even
people.
the times that he has tried to see if he can get something
nothing
from
has
you,
come out of you.
You've only said, whatever you do, I think it's fine.
So what do you expect? Next time he's just going to
You want to
decide.
be a supportive woman? Tell you the
Be
truth.
sharp.
To tell you the truth, every decision that your man makes affects you directly or indirectly. Be it money, change of workplace, what he will put on, everything directly or indirectly.
It will affect you. So it's better you have a hand in it.
Thank you.
Than staying away and complaining after things have gone wrong.
Thank you.
You would rather complain after he has after he has done something wrong, and yet you try to say something and say, but I told you, I told you we can do it like this. And let the ego take the best of him, but after you've done your job as a woman. You're not just there to cook and produce. No. You're not just there to clean the house and give him neat clothes. No. If that is part of your responsibility, yes, but the other part of your responsibility is to actually make sure that this home there's sustainability in this home. Make sure that you have a future. You're driving somewhere, you're heading somewhere. You're not myopic. You're not just thinking about today and the bread that we are eating today and the food that we are eating today, but you are thinking 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, where will we be? How will we survive?
So a supportive woman will not shy away from challenging their men.
Yes.
They will talk back.
And
they will talk, but
politely.
politely,
Yes.
with all submissiveness, with all respect, and with all the love.
And if it's not done, it's not a quarrel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And in at times, by the way, you will disagree, but disagreements are part of it all.
The relationship.
Yeah, we will always disagree and agree on certain things, but disagreements are also healthy. There are times when we will not take the same road. We're like, you've decided to do that, I'm not for you. And now, like Bahati mentioned, at a certain point when it backfires, like, but I told you,
yeah.
we wouldn't have taken that direction. Well, it sounds like a regret, but then it means next time
He will think
listen.
better. Yes.
He will actually listen.
That's
He will not
true.
take you for granted, but you step up. Remember, if you're the kind of woman who says, I've never even done that, you can start now. You can start now. Ask those questions, but make sure that you ask relevant questions. Don't ask irrelevant questions. If it's something that happened 20 years ago, don't bring it back.
Don't bring it
It
back,
does not
yeah.
help, does not serve anything. Don't bring it back. Let it lie. But from now going forward, be part of it.
Yeah.
And make sure that you help each other to get to the place or the heights that you want to get to.
Nagging is not challenging. We should get straight about that.
And that goes hand in hand with the fact that she actually inspires you. Hand in hand, that kind of where you are hand in hand with your partner all through the journey, helping each other to make decisions about home, to make decisions about the next
That positively
school
impact you.
for your children, about which insurance, or either life or school and etc, whichever decisions, whichever investments,
And you know that most of the things fall on the laps of the women. And I think even in our culture and any other place, the first thing they will talk about or they will complain about when something goes wrong in a home is what kind of woman stays in that home. If a man buys a machine all of a sudden and you're renting a Kazigo, they will ask, what kind of woman does he have? Without even knowing that maybe the man is big-headed, maybe he did not even consult with you, but they will ask, just like somewhere, I think it's somewhere in the Bible where it says that a foolish child causes shame and scorn to the mother. Why don't they say to the father? Because they expect you to be the one who nurtures, the one who is available to give direction to your family. So how can you give direction if you're not informed, if you're not sharp, if you can't speak up, if all the time yours is about nagging and quarreling and you think you will get things done?
Now, when we talk about inspiring, we talk about leadership. In this case, you as a woman, you lead by example. For a simple example I'll give, I think we were discussing this with Hilda in the morning. Okay, here is a man who gives you 50,000 to go to a salon.
Yeah.
And what he expects is you to play around with the 50,000
to get something good,
to get something out of the salon. While at the salon you decide to spend 150,000,
and then you
triple
call
it.
him. Yeah.
Now, whether you like it or not, this man will be burdened.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're spending more than he can afford. You're too expensive. And to tell you the truth, such a home will be in debt. Why? Because you can't spend what you don't have.
Yes.
It means you actually have to borrow from someone to be able to pay the bills. And that's a debt. By the time your man comes to you and says, I have 50,000, lead by example. If you're the kind who has dictated that you cannot, if you're the one who has was trying to inspire him to be the man that you want, and you've told him that in this month we only have 100,000 to spend on shoes, for example, and the poor man has lived with the 100,000 for the shoes, and he's like, okay, how much do you want to live with when it comes to a salon for this month? And you're like, Toto, I'll need 200,000. Then don't go and spend 1 million.
In the name of so-and-so bought a human hair and so, and then I want to take pictures and put them on Instagram and what. Now, all that being a slay queen is not something that inspires a man. It's being a woman in the real sense of a woman. A mother, one who nurtures her family, directs her family, one who wakes up in the morning and works, one that does things like differently than the other women do. And we don't have that luxury in this generation. It's a different generation. It calls for us to wake up as women and take the bull by the horns and really strive to be that kind of person.
In this kind of economy, I can assure you, so many men walk back home without 20,000 shillings in their pocket.
Yes.
And when they get home, between work and home, they're only wondering, what are my children going to eat?
Yeah.
Now, this is the kind of woman we're talking about. One, okay, by the time you get home, the food is made.
Yeah.
And the man is only wondering, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And she's like, by the way, you remember when you left 200,000? That 200,000,
yeah.
I decided not to
bought
spend.
more food.
I decided not to spend all of it on my salon, but I kept at least 100,000 to prepare for such days. When I talked to you on the phone, I knew that you were not doing well.
And that would be so priceless. For
Tell you the truth. For a man, that's priceless. You are an inspiration. To tell you the truth, when he gets to a point where you have to dictate certain things, he will listen, even on his knees.
Yeah, because he knows the value.
That is who you are value. You are the kind of woman that the Bible talks about, the virtuous woman. You understand? She's irresistible in everything that she does. She speaks wisdom. You understand? She is that kind of woman who is royal. You understand? So at this point, what are you trying to say? You as a woman have an opportunity here to get into that man's heart. You understand? And shape the way your family should run.
Yes.
Shape the way things should be done by inspiring him, by you doing the right things that you are supposed to be doing, by being an example. You are a leader, so you lead by example. It feels so sweet when burden is lifted off one's shoulders. I think we were talking to one one of our clients some time back, and this man mentioned and said, tell you the truth, guys, even a decision about what breakfast should be taken at home,
They call me and
ask me, and it torments me because at the time I'm
I
at
have so
work,
many things
I'm
to think
thinking
about.
what my boss, the instructions I've just received from my boss, and a phone call comes from home, and they're asking me, the child has a headache. What do we do?
Yeah.
You get me? Now, the woman who will inspire a man is the one who will carry the child to a
Makes
clinic,
decisions. Yeah.
take the child for treatment, and call and say, we are at the doctor's place. The child was not well. Please don't be in a hurry, but just know we have a small bill to clear when you return from work.
That's innovative. That's creative. That's thinking outside the box. And I think being the things that we have talked about makes you actually indispensable to this man. He feels I can't do away. I can't do away with you.
Who would want to run away from such a woman?
But people have run away from beauty.
Exactly.
They will leave beauty and go for someone who is creative, who is on top of her game.
That's why some of you beautiful girls that are listening, men will only need you for sex.
Yeah. For one
they
night.
will only come to you because you have a big bum.
And that's all.
Because you have the calves, you have the hips.
Besides, I can never
because
have
you
my
a
children
good skin.
with her.
But no, there was a man who said, I can't allow there was a woman who conceived and said, I can't allow that woman to breastfeed my child.
Just imagine.
Do you know how that
beauty
feels?
Without brains.
Do you know how that feels?
It's so insulting. So demeaning. So as a woman, this goes back to us. Let's do everything in our power. That is why when we call for these group sessions, if you're a lady out there, when we call for these group sessions, for the events, when we write these books, we are doing this for you, that you will pick. When we do these programs daily, like the whole of this month, we are doing programs on ladies. Check yourself out. Shake yourself and say, you know what? Enough is enough. I can't be the same person 5 years down the road. What change have I caused to my home? And be the change that you want to see in that home.
The other that cannot be left, I know our time is running, is about sacrifice.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the best example is my mother. I saw my mother pay a steep price for us when we were children, and I call that sacrifice. She did not go to school. She had no college education, not even a certificate of P7 if it exists anyway. She could not even express herself in English, and she made this vow. She made
My kids
this.
will go to school.
I've not gone to school, but all my children. I come from a family of 7, 5 girls and 2 boys, and with the boys, 2 boys are the last. And she said, all my children will go to school. But I can assure you, Hilda, there was a day, one of the most painful days of my life was when my mother looked for money for Frank's school fees, my brother, and failed to get it, and sold her gomesi. Now, she had one gomesi that she really loved. It's the one she used to put on when going for functions, weddings, parties, blah, blah, blah. She sold it to pay Frank's school fees. And let me tell you, I've been paying for that gomesi, but I've never paid fully for it. And at times when I sit down with my elder brother Frank, I tell him, I've never seen this. But that sacrifice, that day when mommy did that, when mom did that, okay, she wrote with erasable ink on my heart.
Yeah.
And it can never be erased. Now that's
sacrifice. Yeah.
That's what they call sacrifice. To tell you the truth, at a certain point, there are certain things that are too foreign for men. Really foreign. Really foreign. We are trying much as men to understand certain things. But to tell you, it is in you as a woman, and God, it is by design that a woman will take a bullet.
Will sacrifice the
for our
last
children.
bit, yes.
Will take a bullet. Remember that movie we were watching where that kid was in a building?
Yes,
and the woman said, I don't care.
I would rather die but go
remember
for her.
that they had gone for a divorce with the husband and their children followed them. And this kid is at the basement and the whole building is on fire. And the woman says, I would rather die saving my child. That's
Than
what
walk away.
a woman does. That's what a woman does. Royal is not just a status.
No.
It is what you do that makes you that royal kind of woman. And to tell you the truth, I draw a lot of examples from what my mother used to do. My wife is excellent. She is really excellent. But to tell you the truth, I appreciate that old woman. Every time I talk about a woman in relation to sacrifice, she comes
because
from
you
her heart.
tested it vividly. And I think for most of us that have gone through homes where we've seen people sacrifice, because how can we do these things if we've not seen others do? That is why we usually say that charity begins at home. Now, if you don't see that as a girl back at home, when someone sacrifices and does everything to make sure that you survive, to make sure that you eat, to make sure you have clothes on your back, to make sure that you can go to school. Now, when you grow up, sometimes it's even hard to to even know how to do it. But now we are telling you, if no one has told you, if you are a woman, you're not supposed to be at the begging side. And we have so many teddy bears in the name of women these days. You just wait at home with long fingernails and you wait for a man to give you everything. The child does not have school fees. We don't have this. We don't have this. And you'll find a woman who can sell her goat to have her child go to school. You'll find a woman who will sell her clothes to make sure that that child gets treatment. You'll find a woman who will fall at the headmaster's feet like she's worshipping, and say, you know what, please don't send my child back home. I will bring the money. I don't know how, but I will bring the money. And the child goes through school. So these are the sacrifices that we must make. You go ask for a loan and you know that, by the way, because my husband is not in position to, I will stand in as a woman and make sure that I cover this gap.
The women of today, that .com women, this is what they do.
We are really going astray.
This is what they do. A man comes and says, this is all that I have. He actually removes all his pockets and all his wallet. This is all that I have. I have 20,000.
Yeah.
And guess the response. Agamba nti, when you get money,
you let me know.
You let me know.
Oh, God.
And you know, to tell you the truth, this man at that moment is only wondering, what kind of woman is this?
Yeah.
And whether you like it or not, when he leaves home to go to work, half the time he's thinking about what you told him.
Yeah.
And even when it gets to relationships, a girl, your girlfriend, out of excitement, you think Wemazeyo, and you're giving her 100,000, and she looks at 100,000 and she's like, 100,000? Do you call me a kid, a high school kid?
100,000 is enough for breakfast. What can I do with 100,000?
Please keep the 100,000. I think I have better money. Now, let me tell you
imagine.
This. That man, if he has sense, if he has any brains, okay, should run away.
Yeah.
And if you're a man and you're listening, let me tell you, by the time in a relationship, by the time she tells you that while in a relationship.
What happens when you're married?
Exactly. Okay. Now, this man has come to you and is like, we earn 1 million shillings. You are my wife. From this 1 million shillings is our top priorities. Yeah. Accommodation, that's a roof over our head. Feeding, transportation. Yeah. And obviously now we have also school fees and all this. It's like, you know, instead of taking our child to this school.
International school. Because your friends
let's take our child to a school that is affordable. Not cheap, but what?
Affordable. That can give them the
and she's
standard.
Like, when you have money, the child would go to school.
But until then, I can borrow from my sister. I would rather, if you don't have money, it's okay. But my child cannot go to such a school. You're not being a woman. You're not, yeah.
You're not being a woman. You're not being a woman. It was yesterday I was trying to give some examples about one of my friends who got married from a family that was rich. And to tell you the truth, okay, it was tempting for this young man to take the favors that were coming from the father-in-law. But this young man was wise. When the father-in-law offered a nice house, he turned down the offer. He said, yes, I live in a two-roomed house. Two-roomed house. I'm talking about a bedroom and a sitting room. But if she's my wife, she will come to
that house. Yeah,
we'll live together in those 2 rooms.
And she comes from a bungalow. And
and the father-in-law is like, are you serious about this? You know, I was giving you this house, but I'm not going to ask you for even a penny. I'm only helping you guys. When you feel you are well to do, probably in the future, you can move out and find your own plan. And the guy was like, no, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much for your offer. But we will stay where I am staying with my wife. Yeah. And to tell you the truth, the father-in-law up to now has a lot of respect for this young man. The next thing was trying to offer him a car. It's like, my wife, who is my daughter, your wife, who is actually my daughter, has not been used to taxis and border borders.
Yeah.
Please, I'll offer you a car, and when time comes, you'll buy your own. But please, in the meantime, can you use this car? And the guy said, no, we are fine. I don't think we need a car. Now, to tell you the truth, if the woman, if the wife was stupid, she wouldn't have stayed in that home. But she stayed in that home because she was ready to sacrifice for their relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
And I told this young man, while I was talking to him, I told him, if you took the offer of the car, it would have come with a lot of conditions.
Yeah.
Why do you pick my daughter from work late?
Why? Because you become a driver. You become a chauffeur.
You become a chauffeur.
Yeah.
So the thing that we're talking about here, rotates around the fact that you as a woman, you have a sacrifice
to make.
And even a man has. But the reason as to why we bend more to the
side of the woman,
because she brings the value that we're looking for in the home.
Yes.
She brings that which, you understand,
a man cannot bring.
Exactly. It creates the difference that we're looking for. And remember, this month we're dedicating it to a woman.
Yes.
And we are saying that for woman who is royal, the one that we said royal is her name. Tell you the truth, her sacrifices never end. She continues to sacrifice for her home. She continues to do it,
and this
through
day,
and happily.
Yeah.
The pain that the pain in bringing forth ngazala when she's in labor, you understand, it's a sacrifice, and it's only concluded with the joy of seeing the baby. The joy that comes after the sacrifice, when a woman pays a sacrifice. Today when my mother looks at me, she smiles. You understand, but she achieved it. She said, yes, I nailed it, all my children went to school. You get the point. She's the happiest woman that she did it, and that alone cannot be traded for anything.
Yes.
If you're a woman and you're listening in, we're not only dedicating this month to you, we are only saying, stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
You're the most creative being that has ever been.
Done.
Do it.
Yeah. And in this age and era, we also have women who sacrifice in different ways. For example, you get a cheyo and the cheyo is out of the country and you have young children and you decide, you know what, my young family needs me more than I need that money. Yes, I know I need the money, but let me have the little that I can get here and stay with my family, stick with my family. And as a husband, you respect the sacrifice and you're like, you know what, she could have done anything. She could have gone anywhere in the world, but she chose to stick around with her family to make sure that it works. So those sacrifices, they mean a lot. You have the money, you had allocated it for something different, and all of a sudden there's maybe your husband's mother is sick or sister is sick, and you're like, you know what, instead of going to salon like I had planned, let's send this money to this person. You have sacrificed for something, and those small sacrifices, they amount to a lot in life.
To stay connected with a coach, call 0757 117 117 or 0784 331 331. On social media, it's Bahati Hilda or Team Sabiti. You can even email us at bahatihilda@gmail.com.